man, electricity. That's what we're going to talk about this morning with one of our very special guests, Sam Garaway from Christians Against Poverty. And I mean, power bills, they are a constant stress to people. They come every month, don't they?
Yeah, and they get bigger and bigger. So, Sam, as our resident hip-hop / power expert, we knew you could cover both bases this morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Good morning. It's great to be with you both. Don't know about a hip-hop expert, but yeah,
Really?
we can talk some power tips this morning.
But you're
Okay.
so gangster, though.
I don't know if that's how you describe me.
All right, well, let's talk about electricity and power and how we go about, I guess, knowing what we need to know so that we can minimize our expenses. Where would we start with this?
Well, yeah, and the reason we are wanting to talk about this today is in April, all of us had a power increase. So if you didn't know that, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news this morning. But across the
Ouch.
country, between $10 and $25 a month increase
Wow,
in
that's
our
a lot.
power bills. So as we step into winter, and we all have them, as you say, we want to talk about how can we reduce our spend in that. And so two main talking points this morning. The first is awareness, and then how we be intentional about that. So awareness is all about understanding our situation and the power plans that are on offer. So I don't know when the last time that either of you stopped to look into or consider your power plan, and if you're on the best options out there for you.
I can tell you the most frantic moment in my house every single day is at 8:59, because from 9 p.m. onwards, Sam, we get free power.
Right.
So my wife in particular has an alarm. I'm not kidding. An alarm that goes off that says, all right, dishwasher on, dryer on, let's go to the washing machine, plug and charge everything. That is how we try and at least leverage a little bit of the savings we can get in our place.
I could not live like that. I'm winding down at 7:45 p.m. I would hate to be up doing washing at that time of the night. But I know that there are other ways you can, make the most of the offers that are out there. So let's say you're like me and you haven't actually adjusted your power company or looked at it for maybe 5, 6, 7 years. What would you recommend?
Well, I would 100% recommend going to Power Switch.
Okay.
And having an explore there and seeing if you can get a better deal than what you're currently on.
Okay, Power Switch. Tell us about Power Switch.
So Power Switch is an independent company, independent website where you put in your details, you put in what your circumstances are, and they give you all the options across the power providers of what will work best. And something that has happened, I would say there's nothing new under the sun in many ways around electricity, but just recently, and there's been articles on this in the last few months, the amount of options and variability out there of what your power plan can be and how that can serve that. Everything from, as you say, some free power at that time of night, some that lets you choose, Kat, so you can choose your free power in the morning. If you've got newborns, there's 3 months free power for those that have got
Wow.
newborns. So
All right.
basically...
Where was that when I had my
Yeah,
12-year-old 12 years ago?
Exactly. Even for me with a 2-year-old, it wasn't there 2 years ago. So it's that awareness piece is going, what's my circumstances?
Yeah.
When is the time of day that's going to suit me? How does it work? Do I have an electric vehicle and I want the power plan that caters for charging that and looking after that?
What are the number one ways you can actually save money on power? Because I know that there are a few hacks and strategies that you can employ, like just around the home.
Yeah, so beyond the plan, what we'd talk about is this intentionality piece. And so we're all probably aware of the LED light bulbs and the energy efficient appliances.
Sure.
And some of those tips and maybe turning down the hot water and those sorts of things. But one that's been coming out particularly more recently is even understanding your cooking methods. So
What?
the
Wow.
average meal costs about $2.50 to cook it in the oven
Uh-huh.
versus 20 cents in the crock pot. Now, it might sound like we're getting down to quite finicky amounts, but when you do that daily
Yeah.
across a month, you start to get out to $10 a week pretty quick, $40 a month pretty quick.
So when we're saying crock pot, you mean like slow cooker?
Slow cooker, on all day, 20 cents a meal to cook it in power usage.
See, I would have thought the opposite.
Yeah, me too. So that comes from some research that Consumer New Zealand has done around different methods of power and the way that we cook our foods. Even starting to look at air fryers and the way that we use them for cooking for a short period of time rather than an oven that we need to heat up. You think of the size of your oven and how much power
Right.
that's drawing versus the size of those smaller appliances.
Okay, but there is a bit of a trap in this, and I think we need to knock this on the head too, Sam. You can spend a lot of money trying to save a little bit of money.
This is true. So obviously let's take an energy efficient appliance. To have the upfront outlay, you need to be looking at whole of life around that. I
Yeah.
would say though, I picked up a crock pot, a new one last year at the school car boot sale for $15.
Oh, nice.
So there are ways.
And trade me in Facebook
Trade me,
Marketplace.
Facebook Marketplace. There's ways to look into that. But on our bigger appliances, dryers you mentioned, and washing machines and those sorts of things, obviously they are bigger outlays and you can spend a lot. So we want to be looking for those ways that are very accessible for us if you're on a tight budget there.
Yeah, and there are creative ways too. Like if you don't want to use your dryer, because no matter what kind of dryer you use, it's going to use power of some sort.
Yeah.
So you can put up a tent fly outside and hang up your washing on a clothes horse if you need to, right?
Well, look, you could do that if you wanted to. I mean, probably depends where you are in the country to how effective that's going to be over the next few months. But yeah, there are those ways to be accessible.
Quick question, just looking at some of those ways that you cook, for example, because you talked about how there's studies that have been done that shows you that crockpot cooking might be more efficient than using your oven. Where can you find this kind of data?
Well, look, we start with the internet as a general source of that. But look, Consumer New Zealand, if you go to them and check them out, if you look at a lot of the power companies themselves are doing tips for saving power now, and that, which might sound a bit ironic in some ways.
We want your money, but also here's how you can save a tiny bit.
It's like when petrol stations try and tell you they're there for a sustainable environment. You're like, yeah, cool. All right.
It's a bit like that. So, and the other one is just to be checking out, we're using these principles that we're sharing. So the intentionality, we all know in some ways there is nothing new under the sun. There is nothing new in how we can save it. We can look, we've heard of that phantom power. I know we've talked about that before. The average household is over $100 a year in the left on at the wall rather than turning off.
Wow.
My favourite, most recent tip we were just talking about, having last week off and amongst school holidays, and that is we went away and stayed with family, and this might sound super geeky, but we turn the hot water cylinder off when we go away for like 3 or 4 days at a time. And your hot water cylinder is about $30 to $40 a week.
Wow.
In your power bill. So if you are fortunate to go and stay with family during the school holidays and save a little bit, it sounds a bit geeky. My wife gives me a hard time.
I love it.
I tell her, I was like, look, we can go out for a meal now with that switch.
You can buy one movie ticket.
I'll meet you there.
Yeah.
We got Sam Garaway here from CAP talking to us about ways we can save money on our power. So look, Sam, stick around. We're going to continue this conversation after this one from Christian Lilo.
And we're talking about power switch at the moment.
We are. We're talking power switch. We were just talking how if you haven't looked at your power plan in a long time, the options are abounding at the moment. And if you're like me, I hadn't looked at mine in 5 or 6 years, realized I was on a plan that wasn't reflecting my life stage, and a good cue to go and check that and check if you're getting the best deal is, has something changed in your world? Has there been a life stage change? Are you getting the best deal possible? Because those savings add up. For me, it was $60 a month, which is, my maths would tell me,
$15 a week.
$720 a year.
Yep, both.
How much a year?
$720 a year
Wow.
after tax savings.
Yeah.
So worth doing if you haven't done it, Kat.
Yeah, well, it sounds like a great idea to me. I'm like looking at powerswitch.org.nz and thinking, most of the time myself and the girls and my husband are all at home between like 3:30 p.m. and 8 p.m. at night when we're kind of productive. So that would make sense to have those sort of hours where we, get our free power hour or whatever.
Yeah. There's lots of options. Some that you can choose. Some that I think you were saying, Andrew, that you can do 3 hours. I know mine is overnight. It's low rate. So it's all night, but like very low cost. So you can program your appliances. We've got those little switches in the wall that turn appliances and things on.
Mate, your geeky side is coming out in force today.
It is
I'm
geeky,
loving this.
Yeah, it is indeed. It is indeed.
All right. So this to me also speaks of a broader principle that I know you love to get across to anyone who joins one of the CAP programs or maybe CAP Money or something like that. And that is just the power of saving a couple of dollars, because you mentioned saving, say, $60 a month.
Yeah.
If you sat down to somebody and say, how would your life be different if you had, say, even an extra $50 a week? People go, wow, that's amazing. But if you tell them, well, you achieve it by saving $2 or $3 here or there on, say, 5 or 10 other things, we go, oh, nah.
Yeah, that's it. And it comes back to that motivation, right? So the power and principle of savings only works if we want what that savings will achieve. So the first bit is, can we paint that picture of what's the desired reality? And then what are all the little things that are going to move us and motivate us to get there?
And like breaking down the barriers, right? Knowing that it's actually not as hard as you think it is by just going to Power Switch, typing in your details, taking 5-10 minutes, and then going, wow, I can actually save, $700 a year. That's quite a lot.
It's huge, yeah.
And let's talk about another way that people can actually save money if they're going through genuine hardship, because let's be honest, out there are a lot of people that are doing it tough, struggling to pay their power bill. And I know that there's something that's come up that might be of use to those people.
Yeah, so what you're referring to there is the power credits. That's offered by the Energy Hardship Scheme. So many of the power companies now are signed up that if you are demonstrating that you're going through financial hardship of some kind, particularly in the last 6 months, and that you can sort of evidence that, is that they will give you offering about $110 credit towards their customers' power bill. So I don't know what your power bills are, but that's a lot towards a household's power bill, and a huge help that if you are feeling like you're drowning, like the bills are piling up, perhaps you want to reach out and check out the Energy Hardship Scheme, get in touch with your power provider. I know that Meridian's part of that, and they're doing some amazing stuff in that, along with some of the other mainstream ones in that.
Well, I mean, it's one of the wonderful things that people can discover when they reach out to CAP if they're in need of some kind of financial assistance or, getting out of money chaos. You guys are up to speed on a lot of these things, because even as I hear you talking about it, it reminds me, I know there's a lot of schemes and things for people, and hey, we want to help these people in this demographic and this life situation, but I feel like most of us don't know that these things even exist.
That's that awareness piece, and what's your eligibility for it, and what is out there, and what's going on. And we can point people to those things. So if you are interested to find out more, you can check out capnz.org. You can check out the CAP Money courses that have been offered at the moment across the country.
And the best thing about CAP is that it's Christians Against Poverty, right? So you guys come in and you help provide the tools to actually help people help themselves get out of it. But you also pray for people, because we know that when we give things to God, He can step in and He can do much more than we could ever do.
Yeah, come on, preach it, Kat. So yes, practical help, spiritual hope. We want to see the love of Jesus shared as much as wisdom and good practice around savings and how we approach electricity. We also want to see Jesus and the message of the gospel in that.
Yeah. So look, on a personal note, can I just say to people listening right now, maybe you're not in a situation where you are short of funds yourself, but this has really inspired you. CAP is one of the organizations that I personally support. I have done for a few years now because I love this mission. It's everything that I wish Christians were known for. And if you're doing okay, but you'd actually like to support this program for somebody else to go through, then this is what your giving can help provide as well. So I'm just going to give it my own personal ring of endorsement today. capnz.org. If you want to support this program, you can also give towards it. It helps pay for the people who then provide this program for others, right? And Sam, how much would people be giving towards this if they want to support CAP?
Yeah, so you can give any amount that works for you. We see about $1.50 a day, $46 a month is a great way to get involved and a great place to start.
Brilliant.
Well, thank you so much. Sam Garaway, the CEO of CAP, joining us to talk power and all the amazing things that CAP has on offer. And if you'd like to check out the website, go to capnz.org. Thanks, Sam.
So good. Thanks, team.
Amazing. I hope you enjoyed that as much as we did.
Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn your notifications on so you don't miss the next video.
We'll see you in the next one.